This video will give a brief introduction to Sass. One of the goals is by the end of the course, each student will learn how to use statistical software to analyze a data set. The aim of this video and worksheet is to introduce Sass by having students open a data set in Sass and perform some basic operations. For this course, you'll be able to use Sass or R. The choice is up to you. There's a separate video detailing how to use R. So the first step will be accessing Sass. You can download Sass free to your computer. To do so, you'll want to go to the download.uky.edu and log in. If you go to the statistics category, you'll notice that Sass is here. You can access Sass either by visiting the virtual den or by doing the downloads. If you go on the downloads, you'll need what's called a Sass license request form. So you'll need to click here, follow through the prompts, and get the license form, which you'll want to download to your computer. After you have the license, then you can download the actual Sass. One thing to be aware of when downloading Sass is that the download is fairly large and will take some time. It's recommended not to download Sass over a Wi-Fi connection, but rather through a landline. If you are using a Mac, you won't be able to download Sass. You'll either need to access it through the virtual den, or you can use R. Once you have Sass installed on your computer, to access Sass, you'll go to the Start menu, and then you'll find Sass here. And we're going to select the 9.4 English option. And when you open it, you should see something like this. You may have a gray pop-up box that comes up in the middle. Just click Close. So an overview of Sass. Sass, previously the Statistical Analysis System, is a software suite developed by Sass Institute for Advanced Analytics, Multivariate Analyses, Business Intelligence, Data Management, and Predictive Analytics. Sass is available on most labs across campus. Alternatively, as we just saw, you could download Sass. Sass is well documented, and a good place to look for help is located in the link in the worksheet. When you first open Sass, you should see a screen that looks like the following. So Sass is Windows-based, so you'll notice there's different windows that you can move around. So really, we have 3 different windows here, but when we first open it, we can only see the one to the left and the 2 on the right. This is what's known as the Explorer, this one is the Log, and this one is the Editor. By toggling down here, you can toggle between these 2, as well as the hidden one, which is the Output. So located on the worksheet are just some general notes about Sass code. You'll see those as we move through the video. We're going to start out by creating a Sas program. We'll need to open Sass, which we've already done. Then we're going to click here on the lower right-hand window. This is the editor where we can write our code. We're going to start out by just writing some comments. Comments are there for the person looking at the file, not for Sass itself. So to create a comment, we're going to type the following. Anything we place here in the middle will be a comment. So we're going to start out with a name. Then we're going to make another comment where we type what this file is for. So this file is for the worksheet, Introduction to Sass. And then finally, you'll want to end with the date. Notice that these comments are in green. Again, Sass will not run these lines. These lines are just for us when we go back to look at the file to remind ourselves what this code was for. Next, we're going to save this file so we have it for later on. To save the file, go up to File, Save As. We're going to save the file name as your last name _ intro to Sass. And then by clicking up here, you can navigate to where on your computer you would like to save the file. Notice once the file is saved, the new name appears up here. Next, we're going to read in some data. The data were obtained in a survey of students' math and Portuguese language courses in secondary school. It contains a lot of interesting social, gender, and study information about students. You can read more about the data set by following the link located in the worksheet. There are several ways to read data into Sass. These steps are going to walk you through one way to read in a data set. You want to start by downloading the CSV file from Canvas and save that file to your computer somewhere where you can find it. Next, in the upper left-hand corner, we're going to click on File, and then we're going to click on Import Data. This is going to bring up the Import wizard. Our file was a comma-separated file, so from the drop-down menu, we're going to select Comma-Separated File. Then we're going to click Next. We need to tell Sass where that file is located, so you'll want to navigate to where you saved that file on your computer. Then we'll click Next. We're going to give it a member name here, so we're going to type in student. Then we're going to click Next. And then finally, we're going to click Finish. Notice that a bunch of stuff happened up here at the log. Anytime Sass runs something, you'll see things in the log. And one thing you want to do is just double check you don't see any red. As long as we don't see any red, that means that things probably ran fine. Notice here, this is code that Sass produced by using the import wizard. And if we scroll down to the bottom, we see that the work.student dataset was successfully created. One way that you can find this dataset you created is by clicking on Libraries. This was saved to the work library, and the member we named it was student. So clicking here, we can open up the full dataset. Closing this out. One thing to keep in mind if you ever have trouble importing or reading in data is that file cannot be opened elsewhere on your computer. So for example, if you had opened that file using Excel to look at it, you will need to close that before Sass can import the dataset. Next, we're going to explore the dataset. Here in our file, we're going to write some comments to help us know exactly what it is we're doing. So since we're going to explore the dataset, I'm going to make myself a comment that says Exploration of Student Data. And the first way that I'm going to explore the data set is by viewing the data. So I'm going to make another comment that says View Data. Now to view the data, we're going to use what's called a procedural statement. In particular, we're going to use proc print. So we have proc print, and then we need to tell it which data set we're using. Well, the data set we created is work.student. Each line needs to end with a semicolon, and each procedural statement will end with run. Notice here, these lines of code are not in green, so these are actual lines of code that Sass can see and can run. Notice each line ends with a semicolon. Now to run these lines of data, what I'll want to do is highlight them and then click on the little running man. Notice the data set is brought up so that I can see my data set and I can view it. Once I'm done, I can close this out. Also, if we check the log, notice there's no red, and so everything was successful. So that's how we could view our data. We could also explore different variables in the data set. So again, I'm going to start out with a comment just to let myself know what I'm doing. We're going to use what's called the contents procedure. And the contents procedure generates summary information about the contents of a data set. And then I'm going to end out my comment. Now that I know what the next line of code is going to do, I'm going to actually write it. So again, I've got a procedural statement, so I start with proc contents. I need to tell it which data set that I'm going to work with. So my data set again is work.student. I'm going to end the line with a semicolon and end the procedural statement with the run command. Again, we can highlight this hit the running man, and then we're going to get several results here. Notice that the contents procedure results will start after the print of the data. So scrolling through here, we have lots of information about our data set. Located in the worksheet are directions to type and add appropriate information from the output using the contents procedure, and you'll want to type each of these as a comment as shown in the worksheet. And again, you're going to type those into this file right here. So for example, the first comment will look something like this. You'll want to go over to the results viewer. Looking here, we see the number of observations is 395, so we'll type 395 and then close out the comment. You'll want to also do this for the number of variables and the date and time that the data set was created and last modified. Once you do this, we'll want to save our code. Notice that the file name has a little asterisk here. Anytime you see that asterisk, it means this file hasn't been saved yet. So we're going to click on Save. The asterisk will go away, and now this file is saved on your computer. Again, make sure that you save this in a place you can find it later so that you can upload it to Canvas. This concludes the Intro to Sass video.